The chamber was enormous. Taesung had seen pictures before, but standing inside the Galactic Council building was different. The ceiling stretched so high that clouds formed near the top. Seats arranged in circles rose up like a stadium, and each seat held a different alien species. Some had scales. Some glowed with inner light. Some looked like giant insects with too many legs. Taesung stood in the center with Jiwon beside him. She carried a datapad and wore the formal uniform of Earth's diplomatic corps. Her face stayed calm, but Taesung knew she was nervous. Everyone was nervous during their first council appearance, humans of Earth. A voice boomed through the chamber. It came from Malthan, the council leader. He looked like a tall lizard standing on two legs covered in dark blue scales. You have requested membership in our council. We have reviewed your application. Taesung nodded respectfully. Thank you for your consideration, honored council. A different alien stood up. This one was made of crystal that glowed with purple light. When it spoke, its voice sounded like music. We have concerns. Your species is very young. You only discovered faster than light travel 50 years ago. That is true, Taesung said. But we have learned much in those 50 years. We have established 20 colonies across 12 star systems. We have maintained peace among our own people for 3 generations. An insect-like alien clicked its mandibles together. Peace among yourselves, yes. But what about your history? We have studied your past. You have fought thousands of wars. You have killed billions of your own kind. You created weapons capable of destroying your entire planet. Jiwon's hand tightened on her datapad. Taesung placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. Stay calm, the gesture said. Our past was difficult, Taesung admitted. We made many mistakes, but we learned from them. That is what growth means. That is what maturity means. Malthan's tail swished behind him. Learning from mistakes is admirable, but our concern is deeper than that. Humans are too aggressive, too quick to fight, too creative with weapons and war. Another alien stood. This one had 4 arms and green skin. We have reviewed your military history. In just the last century, you invented nuclear weapons, biological weapons, chemical weapons, railguns, plasma rifles, and orbital bombardment systems. Why does a peaceful species need so many ways to kill? Taesung took a breath. We developed those weapons during our divided past, when nations competed against each other. Now we are united. Those weapons are only for defense. Defense against what? The insect alien asked. There are no threats in your local space. We have kept that region clear of hostile species specifically to observe how you develop in peace. That was news to Taesung, but he did not let his surprise show. Then we thank you for that protection. But surely you understand that any intelligent species must be able to defend itself. Malthan made a sound like a sigh. That is precisely what worries us. Your definition of defense is very different from ours. When the Krell species requested council membership 2 centuries ago, they showed us their defensive capabilities. They had shields and early warning systems. When the Ymor species applied, they demonstrated diplomatic protocols for conflict resolution. When you showed us your defensive capabilities, you gave us a presentation on strategic deterrence, rapid response fleets, and something you called mutually assured destruction. That doctrine is from our past, Jiwon spoke up. We no longer follow it. The crystal alien pulsed with bright light. Perhaps not officially, but your military still trains in those tactics. We have observed your war games. Your simulations always assume total war. Your strategies always plan for complete victory or complete destruction. There is no middle ground in human thinking. Taesung felt frustration rising but pushed it down. With respect, honored council, our training prepares us for worst-case scenarios. That is only sensible. But that is the problem, Malthan said. You always expect the worst case. You always prepare for the most violent outcome. We have member species who have never fired a weapon in anger for 1,000 years. We have members who resolved their last conflict through meditation and poetry. Can you understand how your mindset frightens them? The chamber fell silent. Hundreds of alien eyes watched Taesung. He could feel their judgment, their fear, their certainty that humans were dangerous. I understand, he said quietly. You look at us and see predators. You see violence. You see danger. Yes, Malthan said simply. Then let me ask you something, Taesung said. How many of your member species evolved as prey animals? How many developed intelligence while hiding from predators? The crystal alien spoke. Most of us, actually. Predator species rarely develop advanced civilization. They compete too much among themselves. Exactly, Taesung said. Most of you learn to survive by hiding, by avoiding conflict, by building societies based on safety and caution. That is admirable, but humans evolved differently. We were neither the strongest nor the fastest. We survived by being smart, by working together, and yes, by fighting when we had to. We learned that sometimes you cannot hide. Sometimes you must stand and face danger. That is the attitude that concerns us, Malton said. Taesung nodded slowly. I understand. And I accept your decision. We will withdraw our application and wait as long as you need. That surprised them. Several aliens shifted in their seats. They had expected humans to argue, to demand, to fight for membership. However, Taesung continued, I want to be very clear about one thing. You have kept hostile species away from human space. You have protected us and we are grateful. But now you are telling us we are not ready to join your council. You are telling us we must wait another century or more. That is your right. But understand this means we will continue to develop on our own. We will continue to build our fleets. We will continue to train our forces. We will continue to expand our colonies. Because while we wait for your approval, we still must protect ourselves. Malthon's eyes narrowed. That sounds like a threat. No, Taesung said. It is a simple statement of fact. You are telling us we cannot rely on the Council's protection, so we will rely on ourselves. That is the human way. Ji-won and Taesung turned and walked toward the exit. The chamber remained silent until they left. As the doors closed behind them, Ji-won let out a breath she had been holding. Did we just make things worse? She asked. Taesung shrugged. Perhaps. Or perhaps we made them think. Either way, they have made their choice. Now we make ours. Far across the galaxy, on a planet called Kepler 442b, a man named Dong-Woo was making choices too. He stood on a ridge overlooking a new mining operation. Beside him, an engineer named Haerin checked readings on her scanner. The mineral deposits are better than we thought, she said. We could triple our production estimates, Dong-Woo smiled. Good news for once. Send the report back to Earth. Command will be pleased. Neither of them knew that their colony had just appeared on a targeting list. Neither of them knew that a species called the Skrell had marked human worlds for conquest. Neither of them knew that in 3 weeks their peaceful mining colony would become a battlefield. The Galactic Council had warned themselves about humans. They had decided humans were too dangerous to join their civilization. But they had made one critical mistake. They had confused being dangerous with being aggressive. They had confused being prepared with being violent. They would learn the difference soon enough. Dong-Woo woke up to alarms screaming through the colony. He rolled out of bed and grabbed his communicator before his eyes were fully open. Years of emergency drills made his body move on autopilot. This is not a drill, a voice said over the speakers. Unknown vessels entering orbit. All personnel to evacuation stations. He ran through the corridors of the habitat module. Other colonists rushed past him, some still in sleep clothes. Children cried. Someone dropped a bag and supplies scattered across the floor. Dong-Woo kept moving toward the operations center. Haerin was already there, standing in front of a wall of screens. Her dark hair was tied back in a quick ponytail. Her fingers flew across multiple keyboards at once. What do we have? Dong-Woo asked. 6 ships, she said. Big ones. They dropped out of faster-than-light travel right at the edge of our system. They are heading straight for us. Did they respond to our hails? Yes. Haerin's voice was tight. They said we have 1 hour to surrender or they will destroy every structure we have built. Dong-Woo felt his stomach drop. Who are they? They call themselves the Skrell Empire. I checked our database. The Galactic Council expelled them 50 years ago for excessive violence. They have been conquering independent worlds ever since. Of course they have. Dong-Woo pulled up a chair and started reviewing defense options. There were not many. The colony had civilian shields that could stop meteor impacts. They had a few hunting rifles for dealing with local wildlife. They had mining equipment. That was it. The evacuation transports can hold 300 people, Haerin said. We have 427 colonists, and the transports need 40 minutes to prep for launch. So we cannot evacuate everyone, and we do not have enough time anyway. Correct. Dong-Woo closed his eyes for a moment. When he opened them, his expression had changed. Haerin recognized that look. She had served in the military before becoming an engineer. She knew the look of someone making hard choices. Send. The transports with the children and anyone who cannot fight, he said. Everyone else stays. We're going to buy them time. Fight with what? Heron asked. We have nothing. We have everything, Dongwu said. We have mining lasers that can cut through solid rock. We have explosives we use for excavation. We have vehicles that can carry 10 tons of ore. We have prefab buildings that can be relocated. And we have 3 weeks of supplies. Heron stared at him. You want to fight a military fleet with mining equipment? I want to make them bleed for every meter they take. I want to make them regret coming here. And I want to send a message back to Earth that we need help. Heron was quiet for a long moment. Then she pulled up a schematic of the colony. The mining lasers are too big to move easily. But if we position them at these 3 points, they can cover the main approaches to the habitat modules. The lasers can cut through ship armor if we boost the power. Do it, Dongwu said. The next 30 minutes were chaos. Dongwu divided the colonists into groups. The young, the elderly, and the sick went onto the transport ships. Everyone else got assignments. Some people repositioned the mining lasers. Others loaded explosives into the mining tunnels, ready to collapse them on enemy troops. A few volunteers took the hunting rifles and climbed to high positions around the colony. Heron worked on the communications array. Our regular transmitter cannot reach Earth from here. But if I strip parts from the backup generator and overclock the whole system, I might be able to punch a signal through to the nearest relay station. Will that work? Dongwu asked. Probably not. The array will likely burn out after 30 seconds, but 30 seconds might be enough. Do it. The Skrell ships landed just outside the colony's perimeter. They were massive vessels, black and covered in weapon ports. Ramps dropped and soldiers marched out. The Skrell were tall and muscular with gray skin and 4 arms. Each one carried weapons that made the human hunting rifles look like toys. The lead Skrell officer activated a speaker. Humans, you have not evacuated. This is your last chance. Surrender now or die. Dongwu picked up a transmitter. His hands were shaking, but his voice was steady. This is Colony Director Dongwu. We refuse. If you want our colony, come and take it. The Skrell officer made a sound like laughter. Foolish. Very foolish. The attack began. Skrell troops advanced in organized formations. They expected humans to panic, to run, to die quickly. Instead, the mining laser at position 1 fired. The beam caught a Skrell soldier in the chest and cut him in half. The beam swept left and hit another soldier, then another. The Skrell scattered, diving for cover. Target their communications equipment, Heron said over the radio. Make them work to coordinate. The hunters on the ridges opened fire. Their rifles could not penetrate Skrell armor, but they could hit sensors and communication gear. A Skrell squad leader went down when a bullet shattered his helmet's faceplate. The Skrell returned fire. Energy weapons tore through prefab buildings. Explosions rocked the colony. 3 humans died in the first exchange, then 5 more. But the humans did not break. Every time the Skrell advanced, mining lasers forced them back. Every time they tried to flank, explosives collapsed tunnels or destroyed paths. Every time they grouped up, humans hit them with focused fire. Dongwu ran between positions, directing the defense. His communicator was constantly active. Position 2, they are moving around your left side. Position 3, conserve your power. You are using too much. Medical team, we have wounded at the south habitat. Hours passed. The Skrell kept attacking, but their losses mounted. They had expected this to be quick and easy. Instead, every building was a fortress. Every tunnel was a trap. Every open space was covered by overlapping fire. The Skrell commander finally pulled his troops back to regroup. He sent a message to his fleet. The humans are resisting. Send reinforcements and heavy weapons. We will level this place. Inside the colony operations center, Heron finished her modifications to the communications array. It is ready, but I only get 1 shot at this. Then make it count, Dongwu said. She activated the array. Power from the entire colony diverted into the transmitter. The signal burst outward, aimed at the nearest relay station. The message was simple. Kepler, 442b under attack by Skrell Empire. Request immediate assistance. Will hold as long as possible. The array exploded 31 seconds later, but the message was already gone, racing through space toward Earth. The Skrell bombardment from orbit began that night. Energy beams rained down on the colony. Buildings burned. The shields failed. More humans died. But in the tunnels beneath the colony, the survivors endured. Hayrin had moved supplies underground before the bombardment started. The Skrell could destroy the surface, but to take the colony, they would have to come down into the dark, into the tunnels where humans waited with mining lasers and explosive charges in desperation. On the third day, Dongwu gathered the remaining defenders. There were 73 left out of the 200 who had stayed to fight. Earth will send help, he told them. We just have to hold a little longer. They believed him because they had no other choice. They went back to their positions and waited. In space, something changed. Sensors picked up new faster-than-light signatures, lots of them. A Skrell officer checked the readings and went pale. Commander, we have incoming ships, 20 of them. They are human vessels. The Skrell commander activated his view screen and saw the Earth fleet emerging from faster-than-light travel in perfect formation. At the head of the fleet was a massive warship with the name Indomitable painted on its hull. A transmission came through. The voice was calm and cold. This is Captain Byung-ho of the Earth Colonial Defense Force. You have attacked our citizens. You have 10 minutes to surrender. After that, we will consider you enemy combatants and act accordingly. The Skrell commander laughed. You think 20 ships can defeat the Skrell Empire? We have hundreds of vessels. I am not concerned with your hundreds of vessels, Byung-ho said. I am concerned with these 6 ships here. You have 9 minutes now. The Skrell commander cut the transmission and ordered his ships to attack positions. Show these humans what happens when they threaten the Skrell Empire. Captain Byung-ho watched the Skrell ships move into combat formation. He turned to his tactical officer. The colonists fought for 3 days with mining equipment. I think we can manage with actual warships. All vessels open fire. The battle lasted 18 minutes. Captain Byung-ho's fleet moved with precision that shocked the Skrell. Human warships did not just fire weapons. They coordinated their attacks, covered each other's weaknesses, and adapted their tactics every few seconds. The Skrell fought bravely, but they fought stupidly. They relied on brute force and superior numbers. But they only had 6 ships, and the humans had 20. More importantly, the humans fought like they had been planning for this their entire lives. 3 Skrell ships were destroyed in the first 5 minutes. One tried to retreat, but a human destroyer cut off its escape and disabled its engines. The remaining 2 ships attempted to surrender. Accepted, Byung-ho said. Shut down all weapons and prepare to be boarded. Down on Kepler 442b, Dongwu watched the orbital battle through a cracked view screen. When the last Skrell ship went dark, he allowed himself to breathe. Around him, the surviving colonists cheered weakly. They were too exhausted for more than that. Hayrin sat against a wall, her face covered in dust and dried blood. We actually survived, she said quietly. Yes, Dongwu said. We did. A transport ship landed near the colony ruins 2 hours later. Captain Byung-ho came down the ramp with a medical team and supply crates. He was a tall man with gray hair and sharp eyes. He walked straight to Dongwu. Colony director? He asked. Yes, sir. Byung-ho looked around at the destroyed buildings, the burned ground, the exhausted defenders. You held for 3 days with mining equipment against a military assault. That was either very brave or very stupid. Probably both, Dongwu admitted. Good answer. Byung-ho held out his hand. The Colonial Defense Force is here now. Get your people medical attention and rest. We will handle things from here. Dongwu shook his hand. What happens next? Byung-ho's expression went cold. Next? Next, we make sure this never happens again. The captured Skrell soldiers were taken to the human ships. One of them, a commander named Drakmal, was brought before Byung-ho. Drakmal was defiant despite his defeat. You won this battle, Drakmal said. But the Skrell Empire has hundreds of ships, thousands of soldiers. You cannot fight us all. You are right, Byung-ho said. We cannot fight you all. So we are going to make you unable to fight anyone. Drakmal laughed. Impossible. You would need to invade our entire territory. You would need to destroy our shipyards, our factories, our military bases. You do not have the forces. Watch us, Byung-ho said. What happened next shocked the Galactic Council. Earth did not just defend Kepler 442b. Earth launched a full invasion of Skrell territory. Fleet Admiral Sang-woo commanded the operation from Earth. He was a veteran of the last human war. Decades ago, he understood something the Skrell did not. If you hit a human, the human will hit you back 10 times harder. This is what we call disproportionate response, Sang-woo explained to his officers. The Skrell attacked one colony, so we will dismantle their ability to attack any colony ever again. We will destroy their military infrastructure. We will neutralize their fleets. We will make an example so clear that no one else will try this. 20 human fleets moved into Skrell space simultaneously. They did not fight honorably. They did not give warnings. They targeted shipyards first, destroying the Skrell's ability to build new vessels. Then they hit supply depots, weapons factories, and military academies. The Skrell fought back desperately, but they had never faced an enemy like this. Humans did not just react to attacks. Humans planned 3 moves ahead. Humans used tactics the Skrell had never seen. Humans were ruthless in a way that made the Skrell look merciful. In the Galactic Council chambers, emergency sessions were called. The crystal aliens who had questioned humanity's membership now watched in horror as human fleets carved through Skrell defenses. They are destroying everything, one council member said. This is excessive. This is cruel. Malthan watched the tactical displays with narrowed eyes. They told us they would protect themselves. We dismissed them. Now they are showing us what human protection looks like. An emergency transmission came from the human embassy. It was Ji-won, the diplomatic aide who had stood beside Tai-sung during humanity's failed membership application. Honored Council, she said. Earth's government wishes to inform you that our military operations in Skrell space will continue until the Skrell Empire surrenders unconditionally. We are not asking for your approval. We are informing you as a courtesy. You cannot do this, a council member protested. This violates every principle of proportional response. Ji-won's expression did not change. The Skrell attacked our civilians with military forces. They intended to exterminate our colony. We are ensuring they cannot do this to us or to anyone else. You told us to handle our own security. This is how we handle it. But the destruction, the casualties, are regrettable, Ji-won interrupted, but necessary. You expelled the Skrell from your council for violence, yet you did nothing when they began conquering independent worlds. You let them grow strong. You let them build fleets. You did nothing. So do not lecture us about excessive force when you created this problem through inaction. The transmission ended. The council sat in stunned silence. Meanwhile, on a captured Skrell station, a human interrogator named Min-seo was learning interesting information. She sat across from a Skrell intelligence officer who had finally agreed to talk. Why did you think humans would be easy targets? She asked. The Skrell officer looked miserable. Because everyone said so. The traders said humans were weak. The information brokers said humans were disorganized. Even some council species said humans were primitive and cowardly. Min-seo leaned forward. Who exactly told you this? It was everywhere. After the council rejected humanity's membership, the message spread through the trading networks. Humans were soft. Humans could not defend themselves. Humans were easy prey. Min-seo recorded everything. When she finished, she sent the report directly to Ambassador Tae-sung on Earth. He read it 3 times before calling a meeting with Earth's government leaders. The council wanted to keep us isolated, he told them, so they spread rumors that we were weak. They made us look like victims to dangerous species. They created the conditions for someone to attack us. Can you prove this? Someone asked. Not completely, but the pattern is clear, and we have statements from captured Skrell that support it. Then we use this, a military leader said. We show the galaxy that the Council's actions led to this conflict. Back in Skrell space, the war was ending. The Skrell military was shattered. Their fleets were destroyed or captured. Their shipyards were rubble. Admiral Sang-woo stood on the bridge of his flagship and watched the last Skrell defensive station surrender. Send the message, he ordered. Throughout Skrell territory, every communication channel received the same broadcast. It showed Admiral Sang-woo standing in front of an image of destroyed Skrell shipyards. The war is over, he said. The Skrell Empire attacked human civilians. In response, we have removed your ability to threaten anyone ever again. Your military is dismantled. Your fleets are captured or destroyed. You will surrender unconditionally and accept human observers to ensure you never rebuild your military capabilities. If you refuse, we will continue operations until every military facility you have is dust. The choice is yours. You have 24 hours. The Skrell government surrendered in 6 hours, but the real shock came later. A human scientist named Jamin had been studying captured Skrell weapons. He was an engineer who specialized in reverse engineering alien technology. What he found amazed him. Their plasma weapons are incredibly inefficient, he told his team. They waste 70% of their energy as heat. If we redesign the containment system and improve the focusing array, we can triple the effective range and double the power output. Within weeks, human engineers had not only copied Skrell weapons but had improved them beyond anything the Skrell had achieved. The new designs were shared with Earth's military. Suddenly, human ships carried weapons more advanced than anything the Galactic Council had seen. This terrified the Council more than the war itself. Humans did not just fight. Humans learned. Humans adapted. Humans took enemy technology and made it better. Malthan called another emergency session. We must address the human situation immediately. They have proven more dangerous than we feared. But what can we do? Another council member asked. Military action against them seems unwise. Agreed, Malthan said. But we cannot allow them to continue operating outside council oversight. They are too unpredictable, too aggressive. Perhaps, the crystal alien said quietly. We should offer them what they wanted, membership in the council. The chamber erupted in arguments, but Malthan raised his hand for silence. It may be our only option. Better to have them inside our structure bound by our rules than operating independently. But they will never accept council authority now, someone protested. Then we negotiate, Malthan said. We offer membership on terms they can accept, because the alternative is watching them build their own alliance with other species, and that would truly be dangerous. 3 weeks after the Skrell surrender, the Galactic Council met in closed session. No observers were allowed, no recordings were permitted. This was a conversation the Council did not want anyone else to hear. Malthan stood at the center of the chamber. We have a problem. The humans have defeated the Skrell Empire in 6 weeks. They have dismantled a military power that took centuries to build, and they did it without asking our permission. Perhaps we should have helped them, the crystal alien said. The Skrell attacked first. That is not the point, a four-armed delegate argued. The point is humans solved the problem with overwhelming violence. They did not negotiate. They did not seek mediation. They went straight to total war. Because it works, another council member said quietly. We have been fighting the Skrell diplomatically for decades. We sanctioned, we condemned, we expelled them from the council. None of it stopped them. The humans stopped them in 6 weeks. Yes, and now we have a new problem, Malthan said. The humans are more dangerous than the Skrell ever were. The Skrell were violent but predictable. The humans are violent and smart. They learn, they adapt, they improve everything they touch. A new voice spoke up from the upper levels of the chamber. It was a Veskari military commander named Telvar. I have studied the human campaign against the Skrell. Their tactics are brilliant. They attacked 20 locations simultaneously, preventing the Skrell from concentrating their forces. They targeted infrastructure before combat units, crippling the Skrell's ability to resupply. They used captured Skrell equipment against them. This was not just military action. This was systematic destruction. Exactly, Malthan said. And that level of organization, that level of planning, suggests the humans have been preparing for large-scale warfare for years, perhaps their entire history. So what do we do? Someone asked. Telvar's scales rippled with a color that indicated concern. Military action against humans would be catastrophic. I have run simulations. Even if we united the entire councils, military forces, the humans would inflict unacceptable casualties. They fight differently than us. They do not surrender. They do not retreat unless it is tactical. They make every battle cost more than it is worth. Then we cannot fight them, Malthan said. But we also cannot ignore them. Other aggressive species are watching. If we do nothing, they will assume humans have no oversight. Some may try to ally with humans. Others may try to challenge them. Either option leads to more war. The crystal alien pulsed thoughtfully. We could offer them council membership again, with proper conditions. They will refuse, another delegate said. We rejected them. We humiliated them in this very chamber. Why would they accept now? Because they want legitimacy, the crystal alien replied. Humans care about how others see them. They want to be seen as civilized, as reasonable. Membership gives them that. Or, Telvar said darkly, they may refuse membership and form their own alliance. There are dozens of species who feel the council has failed them. Species who are strong enough to be useful but too small to have real influence here. If humans organize them into a defensive pact, we will have a rival power structure. That thought sent ripples of alarm through the chamber. The council's power came from being the only major political organization in the galaxy. A rival alliance, led by humans, could fracture everything they had built. We need to act now, Malthan decided. Before the humans make any other moves, I will send a formal delegation to Earth. But before he could say more, alarms went off. A technician rushed to Malthan's side and whispered urgently. Malthan's face went through several shades of color. What is it? Someone demanded. Human intelligence operatives have been inside our communication networks, Malthan said slowly. For months, they have been reading our messages, recording our conversations, copying our files. The chamber exploded with angry voices. How is that possible? Our security is impenetrable. Apparently not to humans, Malthan said. And it gets worse. They left a message. They want us to know they were there. This was not a covert operation. This was a warning. A view screen activated, showing a simple message in both human and galactic standard languages. We see everything. Regards, Earth Intelligence Service. In a small office on Earth, an analyst named Subin watched the council's reaction through monitoring equipment that was definitely not supposed to exist. She smiled slightly. They found our back door, she told her supervisor. The one you left for them to find? He asked. Of course, the real back doors are much better hidden. Subin pulled up another screen showing live feeds from council chambers, military databases, and diplomatic channels. They will spend months looking for our agents in their systems. They will never think to check their hardware suppliers. Those monitoring chips we sold them 3 years ago are working perfectly. Her supervisor laughed. You are devious. I learned from humans, Subin replied. She was technically human herself, but she had grown up on a colony world and liked to pretend she was something exotic. It made people underestimate her. That was useful. She compiled her latest intelligence report and sent it directly to Ambassador Tae-sung. He was back on Earth now, preparing for what he suspected would be another invitation to the council. Tae-sung read Subin's report with satisfaction. The council was panicking. They had discovered one of humanity's intelligence operations, but had no idea how deep it really went. Perfect. He called a meeting with Earth's leadership. The council is going to offer us membership again, but we should not accept immediately. Why not? Someone asked. Membership is what we wanted. We wanted membership on our terms, Tae-sung corrected. Before, we would have accepted their rules and their oversight. Now we have leverage. We dictate terms. He pulled up Subin's intelligence data. Look at what we have learned. The council has been manipulating younger species for centuries. They keep them weak by controlling access to advanced technology. They create dependency. They punish species that grow too powerful too quickly by isolating them politically and economically, like they tried to do to us, someone said. Exactly. They spread rumors that we were weak to encourage attacks on us. They thought we would either be destroyed or forced to beg for their protection. Instead, we destroyed the Skrell and proved we do not need them. So what do we demand? Earth's president asked. Tae-sung smiled. Everything. We demand full membership with no probationary period. We demand equal voting rights. We demand human oversight of council security because clearly their security is inadequate. And we demand the right to maintain our own military at current levels. They will never agree to all that. They will if they think we might refuse membership altogether. The Council's worst nightmare is humans forming a rival alliance. We let them believe that is exactly what we will do unless they give us what we want. Back on Kepler 442b, life was slowly returning to normal. Dongwu watched construction crews rebuild the colony. Heirin was now the chief engineer for the entire sector, overseeing not just repairs but massive defensive upgrades. "We are building proper fortifications now," she told Dongwu. "Planetary shields, orbital defense platforms, underground bunkers. If anyone attacks this world again, they will regret it." "Good," Dongwu said. He had been offered a promotion and a comfortable position on Earth, but he refused. This was his home. These were his people. He would not abandon them. A young woman named Young Mi arrived at the colony that week. She was a civilian analyst from Earth's Department of Interstellar Affairs. She had a proposal. "We need to form defensive alliances with other species," Young Mi explained. "Species that the Council has ignored or mistreated. Species that are strong enough to defend themselves but too small to matter politically." "Why?" Dongwu asked. "Because the Council is going to offer us membership, and we want to walk into that chamber with 20 species behind us. We want them to see that if they reject us again, we will form our own organization, one that actually protects its members instead of just talking about it." Heirin looked interested. "Who would join this alliance?" "We have approached 12 species so far. 8 are interested. They like that we actually fought for our colony instead of just abandoning it. They like that we destroyed the Skrell instead of negotiating. They see us as strong allies." "This could work," Dongwu said slowly. "But it could also start a political war with the Council." "Yes," Young Mi agreed. "That is exactly what we want. We want them scared. We want them to realize that excluding us has consequences." She pulled up a document on her datapad. "This is the proposed treaty. We call it the Mutual Defense Initiative. If any member is attacked, all members respond. If any member is threatened, all members provide support. No Council oversight, no Council approval needed. Just a simple promise. We protect each other." Dongwu read the treaty and nodded slowly. "This is what the Council should be but is not." "Exactly," Young Mi said. "We are offering species what the Council promises but does not deliver. Real protection, real alliance, real equality." "When do we present this to the Council?" Heirin asked. "In 2 weeks," Young Mi said. "Right after they make their official invitation for humanity to join. We will walk into that chamber with our allies and give the Council a choice. Accept us as equal partners with our alliance intact." 6 months had passed since Earth received the Council's invitation. The galaxy had changed in ways nobody expected. Captain Byung-ho stood on the bridge of his flagship, but it was not an entirely human crew anymore. Beside him, a Krell officer managed the weapons systems. A Ymor engineer monitored the engines. A young Viscari navigator plotted their course. This was the new Joint Defense Fleet, and it was nothing like what the galaxy had seen before. "All ships report ready," the Krell weapons officer said. Her name was Kalsha, and she had served with Byung-ho for 3 months now. She was professional, efficient, and surprisingly funny during off-duty hours. "Good," Byung-ho said. "Let us show these pirates why they should have stayed in their own territory." The fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel near a small colony world. Pirates had been raiding it for weeks, and the Council had done nothing. So the colony asked the new Mutual Defense Initiative for help. The response was immediate. 15 ships from 5 different species appeared in orbit. The pirates took one look at the fleet and tried to run. They did not make it far. "Disable their engines," Byung-ho ordered. "We take them alive." The battle, if it could be called that, lasted 4 minutes. The pirate ships were captured, their crews arrested, and the colony was given defensive equipment to prevent future raids. The colony's leader, an elderly alien with tentacles, thanked Byung-ho with tears in his eyes. "We asked the Council for help 6 times. They sent observers who filed reports. You sent warships." "That is the difference," Byung-ho said simply. "We do not just observe. We act." Back on Kepler 442b, Heirin was giving a tour to a group of engineers from 3 different species. The colony had been rebuilt, but not the way it was before. Now it was a fortress disguised as a mining operation. The shields can withstand orbital bombardment for 72 hours, Hayrin explained. The underground sections can hold the entire population with supplies for 6 months. The mining lasers have been upgraded to full military specifications, and we have an early warning network that extends 5 light-years in every direction. A small engineer from a species called the PIM looked amazed. You built all this in 6 months? We had motivation, Hayrin said with a slight smile. Nobody wants to go through another invasion. But more importantly, we shared these defensive designs with every member of our alliance. 12 colony worlds now have similar protections. If anyone attacks one of our worlds again, they will bleed for it. The engineers took extensive notes. Several asked if they could bring the designs back to their own colonies. Hayrin agreed immediately. That is the point. We make each other stronger. We share technology. We learn from each other. This philosophy was spreading quickly. Human engineers worked alongside alien scientists. Military tactics were exchanged. Medical knowledge was shared freely. The Mutual Defense Initiative was becoming more than a military alliance. It was becoming a true community. On Earth, Ambassador Tae-sung prepared for the most important speech of his life. In 3 days, he would address the Galactic Council. This time, he would not be asking for anything. He would be telling them how things would be. Ji-won helped him review the speech for the 20th time. You are sure about this approach? She asked. It is very confrontational. That is the point, Tae-sung said. We are not supplicants anymore. We are not asking permission. We are informing them of our decision. And if they reject us again, then we continue building our own alliance. We are already strong enough to defend ourselves. In another year, we will be strong enough to challenge the Council's dominance in several sectors. They know this. That is why they will accept our terms. The day of the speech arrived. Tae-sung walked into the council chambers with Ji-won and 10 other ambassadors. But these 10 were not all human. They represented the other species in the Mutual Defense Initiative. They stood together as one delegation. Malthan looked at the group with mixed emotions. This was not what he had expected. Ambassador Tae-sung, you requested this session to respond to our invitation for membership. Yes, Tae-sung said. Earth has considered your generous offer. We accept membership in the Galactic Council. Relief swept through the chamber. Several council members actually smiled. But Tae-sung was not finished. However, we accept with conditions. Earth will join as a full member with complete voting rights. We will not accept any probationary period or observer status. Additionally, the 10 species represented here today will also be offered full membership. The relief turned to shock. That is impossible, someone protested. Council membership requires extensive review and approval processes. Then change your processes, Tae-sung said calmly. These species have proven themselves capable of self-defense. They have contributed to galactic stability, and they have formed a defensive alliance with Earth. If you want Earth in the Council, they come too. This is blackmail, Telvar said, though his tone was more resigned than angry. This is negotiation, Tae-sung corrected. You invited us. We are explaining our terms. And if we refuse? Malthan asked. Tae-sung smiled. Then the Mutual Defense Initiative continues to operate independently. We continue to grow. We continue to accept new members. Eventually, we become large enough that we do not need the Council at all. And since we actually protect our members instead of just debating protection, we will likely be more attractive to smaller species than your Council. The ambassador from one of the species standing with Tae-sung spoke up. She was a PIM named Rinti. The Council failed to help my people when pirates attacked our worlds. Earth responded in days. The Council failed to act when the Skrell threatened dozens of species. Earth destroyed the Skrell in weeks. We do not need the Council, but humans suggested we try to work within the Council system first. So here we are. Another ambassador, a Krell named Volkar, nodded. My people respect strength. The Council talks about strength but rarely demonstrates it. Humans demonstrate strength regularly. If the Council wants to remain relevant, it must adapt. Malthan looked around the chamber. He could see the calculations happening behind dozens of alien eyes. The Council had 3 choices. Accept these terms, reject them, and watch humanity form a rival organization, or try to fight. The third option was suicide. The second option was slow decay. Only the first option offered hope. The Council will need to vote, Malthan said finally. This is not a decision I can make alone. We understand, Taesung said. We will wait for your decision. But I should mention something you may find interesting. He pulled up a data display showing a map of the galaxy. These 16 species have expressed interest in joining the Mutual Defense Initiative, if Council membership is not offered. These 9 species are considering leaving the Council to join us instead, and these 5 species want to maintain membership in both organizations. The map showed a significant portion of the galaxy's minor powers. If they all joined the Human Alliance, the Council's influence would be cut by nearly a third. You have been very busy, Malthan said quietly. We learned from you, Taesung replied. You taught us that politics matters as much as military power. So we played politics. We made alliances. We offered real protection and real partnership. We did what you should have been doing all along. The Council voted 3 days later. The result was closer than expected, but humanity and its allied species were accepted as full members. The vote was not because the Council wanted them. It was because the Council could not afford to exclude them. A month later, Taesung gave his first official speech as a Council member. Representatives from hundreds of species filled the chamber. This time, humans were not standing in the center being judged. They were sitting in the elevated seats equal to every other member. Honored colleagues, Taesung began. We enter this council with hope and determination. We believe in the ideals this body represents. Peace through cooperation, safety through mutual defense, prosperity through shared knowledge. He paused and looked around the chamber. But we also enter with clear eyes. We know this council has failed many species. We know it has allowed aggression to go unchallenged. We know it has sometimes valued stability over justice, so we make you this promise. Earth and our allies will work within this system to make it better. We will advocate for species that have no voice. We will respond to threats that others ignore. We will push this council to live up to its own ideals. You warned each other about humans. You said we were too aggressive, too violent, too dangerous. You were partially right. We are dangerous, but not in the way you feared. We are dangerous to bullies who think might makes right. We are dangerous to tyrants who prey on the weak. We are dangerous to anyone who mistakes patience for weakness or diplomacy for cowardice. But to peaceful species, to honest traders, to explorers and scientists and artists, we are friends. We are allies. We are partners. You should have listened to your own warnings, not because we are monsters, but because we refuse to be victims. We do not wait for permission to defend ourselves. We do not ask for approval to help our friends. We do not accept that the strong can prey on the weak without consequences. Some of you are afraid of humans. Good. That fear will keep you honest. That fear will remind you that actions have consequences.